In the ancient silence of the mountains, where the wind whispers of forgotten battles, and the blade reflects the soul of its wielder, lies the eternal secret of self-retribution. The mastery not of the world, but of one's own fire. The samurai knew that the true war is not fought with swords, but with the spirit that commands them. Like steel forged in relentless flame, the heart of a disciplined warrior must endure heat, hammer, and hardship until it becomes Hagane no Ishi, a will of unbreakable steel. To master oneself is to stand still in chaos, to hear the storm and not tremble, to act not from impulse but from purpose. Tonight, I ask you to walk this path, the samurai method, where every weakness is burned away and every strike is precise, deliberate, pure. Comment, "I walk the path," if you accept this journey. Subscribe, for this brotherhood of modern warriors grows with every soul that chooses discipline over desire. Thank you for being part of this forge, where fire refines, not destroys. Awareness is the first strike of the samurai's inner blade, the awakening of perception beyond illusion. It is the moment when the fog of mind begins to lift, and one finally sees not the world as it appears, but as it truly is. To master self-retribution, one must first become aware of every flicker of thought, every whisper of emotion, every ripple of desire that moves within the heart. The samurai believed that the mind, like a lake, must be still to reflect truth. Awareness is that stillness, the calm observation that turns chaos into clarity. In the battlefield of the mind, those who act without awareness are like swordsmen blinded by their own fury. But the awakened warrior perceives even the rise of anger before it erupts, feels fear before it shapes action, and knows temptation before it takes hold. This sensitivity is not weakness, it is the first power of mastery. To be aware is to live consciously, to walk through life not as a shadow of reaction, but as a being of deliberate motion. The samurai trained their senses to read not only the opponent's stance, but their own inner stance, the posture of spirit. Awareness sharpens focus, revealing the subtle patterns of cause and consequence in every choice. When you become aware of your own triggers, your cravings, your doubts, you no longer become their prisoner. You begin to anticipate your own weaknesses, like a strategist reading the enemy's plan. It is in awareness that the roots of impulsive behavior are exposed, and once exposed, they lose their power. The disciplined mind, like a blade kept clean, reflects every truth without distortion. Awareness teaches you that no battle is won by fighting blindly. Victory begins in seeing clearly. In the way of the samurai, awareness extends beyond the self. It is the understanding of one's place in the flow of all things, a state of harmony with the impermanence of life, or mujo. The warrior who embraces awareness becomes attuned to the subtle rhythm of existence, when to strike, when to wait, when to yield, and when to stand firm. Awareness transforms reaction into response, emotion into insight, and fear into presence. It is the art of pausing before speaking, breathing before acting, observing before deciding. True awareness allows you to detach from impulse, to act with precision rather than passion. In every breath, in every choice, awareness becomes the silent sensei guiding your spirit. For self-restraint is not suppression, it is understanding, and understanding begins with awareness, the quiet mastery of seeing without distortion, hearing without judgment, and living without blindness. Discipline is the fire that tempers the steel of the spirit, the relentless forge where strength is not found, but made. In the samurai path, discipline was not punishment, it was liberation through mastery. It meant rising before the sun, training when the body screamed for rest, acting with precision when the heart wavered. The disciplined warrior does not wait for motivation. He acts from duty, from principle, from honor. Discipline transforms chaos into order, intention into action, and weakness into endurance. Every repetition, every sacrifice, every silent struggle builds a fortress within. To live with discipline is to accept that comfort is the enemy of growth. The samurai understood that freedom is not found in doing what one wants, but in mastering the ability to do what one must. Through discipline, the spirit learns obedience not to others, but to its own higher calling. Discipline is the invisible thread that binds will and action. It demands consistency when the flame of passion fades. In moments of fatigue, when desire weakens resolve, discipline remains, a steady hand upon the sword. The samurai called this state shugyo, the lifelong training of body and mind toward perfection. Discipline refines instinct into precision, turning hesitation into readiness. It teaches you to move, even when fear whispers to stop, to endure when the body pleads for surrender. In a world addicted to instant gratification, discipline is rebellion, the quiet defiance that says, "I will not be ruled by impulse." Every day lived with discipline is a victory unseen, yet its power accumulates silently until it shakes destiny itself. The warrior who lives by discipline does not need to chase strength. He becomes. To embody discipline is to become one with rhythm, the steady heartbeat of purpose. It is the balance between control and surrender, between force and patience. Discipline is not about rigidity, but alignment. Aligning thought, word, and deed into harmony. The samurai practiced discipline in every motion, even in silence, for they knew that mastery of small things leads to mastery of great ones. The disciplined soul finds peace not in ease but in effort, not in reward but in the act itself. It is the flame that never dies, the rhythm that never breaks, the promise that never falters. When you live with discipline, distractions lose their grip, excuses dissolve, and every action becomes a stroke of intent. In this way, discipline transforms from burden into beauty, from constraint into art. For in the end, the disciplined warrior does not fight to conquer others. He fights to conquer himself. Detachment is the wind that cools the fire of desire, the stillness that steadies the warrior's heart amid storms. In the samurai way, detachment was not indifference, but inner freedom, the ability to act with clarity, untouched by the noise of emotion or the pull of craving. The true warrior learns to let go, not because he feels nothing, but because he understands everything is fleeting. This is the essence of Mujo, the impermanence of all things. Detachment allows one to remain unshaken in victory and unbroken in defeat. When a samurai entered battle, he had already accepted death. Therefore, he fought with complete presence and no fear. That is the paradox of detachment. By releasing your grip on outcomes, you gain absolute power over yourself. To master self-retrieval, one must learn to care deeply, yet never cling. In life, attachment is the chain that binds the spirit to suffering. We cling to comfort, to approval, to success, and even to pain, mistaking possession for purpose. But the disciplined heart understands that control begins where attachment ends. Detachment is not about isolation from the world, but mastery over one's response to it. The samurai trained their minds to observe without attachment, to feel emotion without being ruled by it. When anger rises, they acknowledge it but do not act from it. When desire whispers, they see it for what it is, a passing wind. This calm awareness creates a space between stimulus and response, and in that space lies ultimate power. Detachment teaches you that peace is not found in control of the external world, but in the command of your inner one. To live with detachment is to move through life like water. Flowing, adaptable, ungrasping, you give your best to every battle, yet remain free from the weight of outcome. You love, but without dependence. You strive, but without greed. You succeed, but without arrogance. Detachment refines purpose, stripping away ego and leaving only truth. The samurai understood that clinging clouds the mind, but detachment sharpens it. It is not a retreat from life, but a higher engagement with it. Action without obsession, presence without possession. In mastering detachment, you no longer chase what is fleeting. You become grounded in what is eternal, your spirit. And in that freedom you discover the highest form of self-retrol, to act fully, give completely, and walk away peacefully, knowing that nothing can enslave the soul that holds on to nothing. Purpose is the flame that gives direction to the warrior's fire, the sacred calling that transforms discipline into destiny. Without purpose, even the sharpest blade dulls in confusion. The samurai lived and died by ikigai, their reason for being, the thread that wove meaning into every breath, every strike, every silence. To master self-retrieval, one must first know why one fights. Purpose anchors the mind amid chaos, keeping the spirit steady when temptation calls and doubt whispers. The samurai lived by purpose. The samurai lived by purpose. It is the compass that points through darkness, guiding each action towards something greater than self. When the samurai drew his sword, it was never for pride or anger, but for duty. His life was not measured by comfort, but by contribution. Purpose transforms endurance into honor and struggle into growth. Without it, the warrior wanders. With it, he walks the path with unshakable resolve. To live with purpose is to awaken each day with direction, even when the path is hard. It is the silent force that drives consistency when motivation fades, the unseen strength that keeps the warrior moving when the body aches and the heart doubts. Purpose is the essence of Bushido, to serve something beyond ego, to live by values that remain unbroken by circumstance. It gives weight to action, dignity to failure, and immortality to effort. The samurai's purpose was not chosen for convenience but accepted as destiny, a vow that shaped every decision. When your purpose becomes clear, hesitation fades. Every obstacle becomes a test of devotion. Every pain becomes proof of your commitment. Purpose does not eliminate struggle. It gives it meaning. Through purpose, self-control is not a burden, it becomes a devotion to something eternal. In a world of endless distractions, purpose is the returning home, the still center amid motion. It reminds you who you are when everything else tries to tell you otherwise. Purpose gives rise to alignment, when thought, action, and spirit move as one. It silences the noise of impulse, because your direction is already chosen. The samurai knew that when purpose burns bright, temptation loses its pull, and fear loses its voice. Living with purpose means accepting sacrifice with honor and facing hardship with grace. It means understanding that the path may be lonely, but it is never meaningless. Purpose makes every moment sacred, every act deliberate, every failure valuable. When your life becomes guided by purpose, you no longer chase control, you embody it. For the truest mastery is not in holding the sword steady, but in knowing why you raise it at all. Balance is the art of walking the invisible line between extremes, the mastery that keeps the warrior's spirit steady amid the clash of chaos and calm. In the way of the samurai, balance was not mere stillness, but harmony, a sacred state where strength and serenity coexist. The disciplined swordsman knew that too much fire burns the self, and too much calm dulls the blade. True mastery lies in knowing when to advance and when to yield, when to speak and when to remain silent. This equilibrium is the essence of Choa, the Japanese principle of natural balance and inner alignment. To master self-retribution, one must learn to dance between power and peace, between intensity and patience. Balance allows the warrior to fight fiercely without hatred and to rest deeply without guilt. It is not about avoiding tension, but transforming it into grace. In life, imbalance is the root of suffering. When one pursues only strength, compassion fades. When one clings to peace, courage withers. Balance reminds the spirit that both light and shadow have purpose. The samurai trained not just their bodies but their emotions and minds, for they knew a blade without balance shatters in battle. Through balance one learns to channel emotion rather than suppress it, to control energy rather than exhaust it. It is the discipline of maintaining inner calm while the world roars, of acting with intensity yet remaining composed. Balance gives clarity to decisions and fluidity to action. It is the quiet center from which all strength flows. A life lived in balance is not one without struggle, but one where struggle refines instead of breaks. The warrior in balance does not react. He responds with intention and grace. To embody balance is to live as water lives, soft yet unstoppable, yielding yet powerful. It flows around obstacles without losing its nature, and so must the spirit of one who seeks mastery. Balance teaches that rest is as vital as effort, reflection as crucial as movement. It allows you to pursue greatness without losing peace, to seek victory without losing virtue. In this state, you are no longer torn between opposites. You become the bridge that unites them. The samurai who mastered balance moved through life like a calm flame, fierce enough to burn through limitation, yet gentle enough to warm those around him. To find balance is to find yourself between earth and sky, between will and acceptance, between action and stillness. For only in balance does true self-control exist, not as restraint, but as rhythm, where every breath, every motion, every thought flows in perfect harmony with the way of the warrior. And so, my fellow warriors, the path to mastering self-retribution, the samurai method, is not a single battle but a lifelong journey. Awareness sharpens your vision, discipline strengthens your resolve, detachment frees your spirit, purpose lights your way, and balance keeps your heart steady. Together, these pillars forge the soul into something unbreakable, a blade that does not rust in comfort nor crumble in chaos. In this modern world of distraction and desire, remember that your greatest enemy is not outside you, but within you. Every moment you choose awareness over impulse, discipline over indulgence, purpose over drift, you forge yourself anew. The samurai did not seek perfection, they sought presence. To act fully, live intentionally, and die without regret. Let that same fire live within you. If you walk this path with courage, the storms of life will no longer shake you. They will sharpen you. Comment, "I walk the path," and let this be your vow. Subscribe and stand among warriors who forge their own destiny. For in mastering self-control, you do not just shape your mind, you shape your world. The battle begins within, and victory begins now.